We also get couple envy in our relationship. I don't know whether anyone else suffers from that. We had it recently, right? We were in a restaurant. Someone really suffers from it. Go away. We were in a restaurant in Greece, right? And there was this old couple in the restaurant at one of the tables, like properly old, ancient, both in sketches. They weren't moving quickly, but their arches looked very well supported. I'm going to keep going with these sketches jokes, by the way. My aim by the end of this tour is I want to become the first celebrity ever that is paid by a brand to stop wearing their produce. So anyway, what happens is this old couple, they're sat at a table in the restaurant, right? And they hear this old-timey song come onto the radio, and then impromptu, they just get up out of their seats and they start having a little slow dance with each other in the middle of the restaurant. I know. My girlfriend's heart just melted. She was like, oh my God, that's the most adorable thing I've ever seen. They're probably childhood sweethearts. It's like, we don't know that. Could be a one-night stand for all we know. Yeah, that's got Tinder pump and dump written all over it. She's like, no, that'll be us in 50 years' time. I dread to think what the version of that is in 50 years. Nostalgia for the cultural tundra that we find ourselves living through. Us in a restaurant in Greece in 50 years, craning our ear to the speaker system. Darling, I think it's our song. Cardi B WAP. Oh. Just getting up and luring ourselves into a slut drop that we never get up from. My girlfriend, she loves that show where they follow the dating lives of people with learning difficulties. Love Island. Love Island. It's true, come on. I've seen men on that show that are so dumb they make Jamie Redknapp look like Professor Stephen Hawking. Don't worry, I'm allowed to do that joke. I asked Jamie for permission to do that one. I'm not a monster. It's like, do you mind if I do this gag in the Netflix special? He was like, yeah, of course, mate. Stephen Hawking, what a skateboarder. I also, of course, blame my social inadequacies on my upbringing. As many of you know, I was sent to a boarding school aged 10 because my parents were financially well off but emotionally bankrupt. Ridiculous place to raise a child. You basically spend a fortune to give your kid an empathy bypass, daddy issues, but fluent in Latin. And obviously, check my privilege. I know going to a school like that is like a ridiculously unfair leg up in life. If you needed any more proof that the arts are far too polluted with tough actors, look no further than my school. Bloody everyone went there, all right? Emma Watson went there. Robert Pattinson went there. Yes, it was Hogwarts, thank you. Tom Hiddleston went there as well. And what this means is that whenever they write about this school in newspapers and magazines and articles and the like, they always get name-checked, and I am nowhere near it. It's like I am the school's dirty little secret, just swept underneath the rug. Never want to talk about me, no, because they're all like, oh, we had Hermione and Loki and Batman. Great. Do any of them get 30% off sketches because they're friends with Jamie Redknapp? No. Yes, I bought these rascal shoes just to do that joke. Do I regret it? Do I? Best $5.99 I've ever spent. Do you know how depressing it is that the first applause break of the evening was for a pair of sketches? They're so offensive on the big screen as well. What the? How is there so much heel? I'm actually 5 foot in real life. That just adds an extra foot. They're basically stilts. Please get them off the big screen. It's worse than my arse crack. Okay. But the only fight I have ever won, on a technicality, I was at a music festival and I saw one of my friends in the Moshpit and I greeted him by walking up behind and giving him a hearty slap on the arse. And I made good contact as well. You know when you make good contact with an arse slap and you can feel a couple of their vertebrae dislodge? Turned around, very much a stranger. That escalated to the point where he had me up by the scruff of the neck, and just as he was about to punch me in my face, I drunkenly whispered in his ear, my safe words, Despacito. Honestly, try it. Don't throw punches, people. Throw shapes. Next time you get into an altercation on a Saturday night, some guy squares up to you and it looks like it's about to get violent. Don't meet him on his level. Just look the guy dead in the eye and give it some of this.
Despacito, quiero respirar tu cuello despacito.
Come back and fight me like a man! You will win 9 out of 10 fights. Admittedly, on the 10th one, you will either end up in hospital or getting your sucked, but I'll take those odds. I love my mum to bits. She's going to be an amazing grandmother, but oh my God, she's got madder recently. The Hills Whitehall fans are in, the Hills Army. Now, my mum's hit this age, right, and I don't know whether anyone else's mum has hit this age, where every single phone conversation that I have with her now is just my mum telling me about the ill fortune of a string of random people that were once very tenuously connected to our family. Never talk about anything else. She just rings me up out of the blue. Do you remember Roger? Roger, your father's old quantity surveyor? Not really, Mummy. No. Why? Dead, heart attack, 54. Well, great. My heart goes out to anyone who does remember who the Roger was. And Mrs. Warboys, do you remember lovely Mrs. Warboys? The big C got her. What? Cancer? No, she was walking out of a Costa. They hadn't properly attached the sign. It's the dumbest joke of the evening. No. So Roxy's called Roxy because she said, oh yeah, my dad named me after his favorite song. So we could go that route. I was like, we're not calling our kid Mambo No. 5. That is... The problem is though, even if you paid through the nose for the top of the range one, you're still staying in a tent. I was in a tent. Yeah, I didn't sleep for a week, just lying there wide awake, and all I could think was the only thing protecting me from a predator was a zip. I mean, to be honest, it was a little bit like being back on those camping trips with Mr. Chambers, but that's another story entirely. You've been very generous this evening with your laughter. You've also been judicious, and I appreciate that. That's been the weirdest thing about doing this show, is reacclimatizing to performing it in Britain, having started my tour in America, where every single audience's base level is demented enthusiasm. It's overwhelming. I honestly couldn't handle it. I didn't know where I stood. I couldn't trust. A room full of zealous, passionate American floozies. I began to genuinely miss this. A proper, frigid British audience. I had to fucking earn your laughter this evening. Even that pregnancy announcement earlier on this evening, that was an amazing moment. Because you say you're having a baby in America, oh my God, they're whooping and hollering, they're up on their feet. A couple of people at the back of the auditorium getting pregnant themselves, they're so excited. I told you that I was having a baby earlier on this evening, and yes, there was a smattering of applause, but there was also hundreds of blokes dotted around the room, looking back at me, arms crossed, teeth gritted, going, you know who else had a baby, Jack? F***ing everyone.